Well, welcome to Clockwork Curiosities from Hunkydory. This is Paulette's Paper Play, and I'm going to be showing you all of these items and how I use them and why I use them the way I did. But let's get into the product. And, well, actually, let me show you something that I've done with these. In fact, this is the first card, and you can see that shiny mirror cardstock and just some fun things. So won't you please come play with us? Well, as you can see, we have 3 items that are part of this collection. The luxury topper collection, the 8x8 papers, double-sided, and then 16 sheets of mirror. So let me just show you what each of those is. I'll set this aside. So in the topper collection, it says that you'll be able to make 16 cards. You can make at least 16 cards. And let me just show you what the sets are. So you're going to get 2 of each one. I'm going to show you. And this is the time for new beginnings. So you can see the clock. You can see there's a teapot as well as keys. So these are all foiled and they are all die cut. And you can see that you get patterned frames as well as solid frames. And then to match it, you get 1 sheet of foiled adorable scoreable. This is their cardstock. And then you get another sheet that is just patterned, so no foiling on that. And so that is 1 set, and you get 2 of all of those, okay? Now, we're going to go to the next set, which is this one. Beautiful roses. I like this because it is kind of steampunk, but you are getting feminine and masculine images, and that's always nice. Again, you get multiple die cuts, all of them foiled. Then you get a foiled adorable scoreable. These are all A4 size, and you also get one that is printed. So beautiful. Then the next one is cars and travel. It's called The Adventure Begins, as you can see. And you get the foiled, there is the car, and you get the patterned, which is the hot air balloon. So that works nicely. And the last one is this. So you've got, this is called a note to say. So you've got a typewriter, you've got music, you've got a book, and you've got a gramophone. That's all foiled. There is the foiled cardstock, you can see, and there's the printed cardstock, all beautiful. So all of these come in that 1 set, and we'll just do it right there. And I have used 3 of these sets in the project you're about to see. Now, to coordinate with this, there is the mirror cardstock. Now, I love this. I absolutely love it. And you are going to get 2 each of what I'm going to show you. So, again, they're A4. So you can see this is a bronze brown. You get a purple. You get a red and a blue, as well as green, as well as a deeper blue, and copper, and gold, all of those, 2 sheets of each, and so that's going to do you well, I think. And then for the 8x8 papers, and as I said, they're double-sided. Now, I only use these in 1 project, but let me show you the collection. So you're going to get 12 different sheets. You're going to get 4 of each one. So this is the one that I used in that first card that you saw. And this is on the back. And what I like is that many of these are kind of paired. So you can have a hummingbird along with a butterfly if you like. And there's the back side of it. You can do this heart lock and key along with the keys that are right there. And there's the back side with wood and the back side of that with more keys. We've got that rose in a jar. And that would go nicely with the dragonfly, don't you think? And there's the back of it with all kinds of gears and the back of that. Now we have a very steampunky bicycle, and right there we also have a locomotive. Those 2 could go together. I love all the travel gear here, and that would play well with traveling. We've got the lighthouse and a map. We have the book, and on the back of it, lots of volumes. And this one with the music, and on the back of that, we have an all-over pattern. So those are the 12, and you get 4 each. Okay. Well, the first card is this one, and it is the only one that I did using the 8x8 papers. And as you can see, I use the Miri with it, but I also use some other things. So let me just walk you through this. This is our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. And you can see why I really like that size, because it just gives you more room to create. At least that's how it works for me. Now, this is the sheet that I'm using on the card front, and on the back of it is this green. And I use that green to cut 2 strips right here that I layered. So let me give you a few measurements. There are directions down below. Just click on the card. You will see all the measurements, so you don't have to worry about remembering anything as I'm going through this. But when I did trim this out, you can see I kept it really tight to the bird because I knew I wanted to use this part because I wanted to use it for those strips on the back. So I cut out this piece, and then I cut 2 strips, and the strips were, let's see, I've got them right here. One is 5 inches by 1.5 inches wide. The second one is 5 inches. You can see I didn't trim them out for you. 3/4 of an inch. So I've got 2 pieces to layer. Now, why would I want to do that? Let's get in close. I'm hoping that the camera will pick up the difference. But here is the smaller piece, and here is the wider piece. What I did is I used something brand new for us, which also comes from Hunkydory, is metallic wax, and I have to tell you, I'm in love with this. And if you saw the embossing folder using the 3 colors of metallic wax, it was drop dead gorgeous, absolutely wonderful, and we can't get any more of them, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So what I did is I took the narrow strip and I put the metallic wax on it. Now, I put this on with my finger. I'm not going to do it right now because I have to go through the other cards. Well, let's see, that's not fair, is it? Okay, let me just do it, and we'll just break. Now, you do want to put this on a craft mat, because obviously you're not going to be able to control where it only goes. So I did put this on just like this. Now I know I've got something green on a brown craft mat. Okay, so I just went down it, and as I was going, that metallic shine is going to get brighter. So let me get this out of the way. And then I put it on the wider piece, and I glued that down. So you can see the different colors right there. And I just wanted to have a subtle difference, but I wanted to play with the copper. And so I did those 2. And then I used, and I'm going to use this several times on these projects, the oval border dazzles. They are gorgeous and wonderful, and there is a copper set. Hooray. There's also 3 sizes on each of these sheets. I think you can see it here. See that that's smaller, that's a medium, and that's wider. Then between them there is another strip. In fact, actually I'll show it to you on some of the other projects where I used it. So I put, so I glued those 2 pieces together, then I put the wider oval down the middle, and then I did the smaller ones on each side of that center strip. I glued that to the back of my hummingbird. Then I had already cut a piece of the Miri cardstock, and of course I'm going to use the copper because that's what I've used right here. And I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm going to attach this. Extra sticky tape is probably what you're going to need, because the paper going onto that slick surface, that's a little tricky. So you want to do that with extra sticky tape. So that's with the red liner. Now, you can probably see, and we're going to get in even closer, but I also highlighted this with the copper jewel dazzles. And pretty much wherever there was something to put it, that's where I did. Definitely in the center of the gears, but also to accent the feathers on my hummingbird and into the flowers on the left-hand side. So now Lene has been a great proponent of the jewel picker, and I can see why. It has 2 ends, and it makes it easy to pick up the dazzles, especially the jewel dazzles. So all you do is just press down and it will lift up. And let's see, maybe I'll put one, how about right there? It's that easy, so simple. So I'm kind of going on Lene's team and loving that. Now, the Thinking of You, that comes out of our We're Together group. And this is the We're Together More colors because it's got brown, white, gold, and silver. There wasn't a copper, I'm sorry to say, but I thought the gold just did a nice job. So Thinking of You is right there. This is the collection of We're Together. So it has all sorts of wonderful, heartwarming phrases on there. So that's my card front, okay? Now for my inside, you can see I'm going to take some of the techniques that I used on the front and maybe kind of do them a little differently. So now I went to the second sheet. Remember I showed you how they work together? And this is the butterflies, so pretty. So I trimmed them to fit right into the inside of my card. Again, the dimensions are on the instructions. I did cut another piece of the copper Mary and glued that down. And I did, again, 2 strips of the green and used the copper metallic wax on the small one, put them together, glued them, and added the oval border dazzles. Now, if you wanted to conserve your dazzles, you really only have to place them like the last 1.5 inches on each end. So highly recommend that if you're interested. Then I also used the copper jewel dazzles. You can see them dancing on the butterflies. And then lots of hugs down here from the We're Together. So that became my first card, and that's why I did. Notice that those 2 lines, those 2 strips are horizontal on the front, and they are vertical on the inside. Okay, so metallic wax is really fun, and you can also, in fact, I did this, I just forgot to tell you. I used it on the edge of the 2 cutouts. So right along here, I'm not sure if you can see it on, there you go. Yeah, just pulled it in, just dabbed it right in. And I like that. That nice little, kind of goes right along with the steampunk look. Okay, now we're going to get into the topper collection. And here is my first card. Now, what I did is I used the foiled cardstock. So let me show you the set that I used. You probably can remember it. So this one, really captivated by that. And this is the sheet that I used on the front. So simply trimmed it down. Although I decided, and I have to tell you what I did in the beginning is I took out all the Mary and I decided which collections I was going to use them with. So for this one, I chose the green because of the green behind here. And I did that with the others, so I'll explain that as I go through. But that kind of gave me a starting point. So to cover my card with the green Mary, you know how covering it, you can look at it in the Card Making 101 at the bottom of the homepage at Paper Wishes, but we just take our card and put our adhesive all the way around. I like to make a big X in the middle. For some reason, I think that's better. And then I position the whatever I'm using, this time it's Mary, along the fold and along one edge, press it down, turn it over, and trim it to fit. It always works. It's always foolproof, and it's probably the easiest way I've ever found to do covering a card. And that's how I phrase it, as covering a card. Okay, then I trimmed this piece down, and you'll notice that I really wanted to make sure that I was going to get that clock and the flowers and as many of those gears as I could. So I cut that and then glued that in place. Again, I think extra sticky tape is your best bet. Then I used this border piece and I just put extra sticky tape at each end because that's where I really wanted to make sure that it was really attached. The birthday time is on this sheet, And I foam taped that in place, and notice I have it overlapping that just a little bit. I like to do that because I feel like it visually connects everything together. And then I used the gold oval border, and it is right here. So you can see this is the basic set. So there's the gold. And you know, I realized I forgot to tell you something. Well, let me tell you this first. Okay, so in the border oval dazzles, you can see there's oval and there's an oval, but there's a piece in between that is kind of pokey. It's not oval. And I like using that too. And I like the idea of having this just on the edge of the paper. I didn't want to cover up my Mary. And I have it over that border. So it is the top piece. It just goes right to the end. So that worked nicely. Now, something I wanted to share with you, and you can see, hopefully, that the edge of this is darker than the edge of this. Can you see that? Are you shaking your head yes? Okay, I'm just going to pretend like you told me that. So what I wanted to do was to add just a bit of shadow. And what I do is I have these papers that I've just done, and I just tap the ink pad on here, write down what it is, so that when I'm figuring out what I want to do on a card, I can use this and go right next to the cardstock and say, okay, well, is this going to be, that's a little green, that's really dark, that's so much the same color, I'm not sure it's going to work. But then I try it, and I try it on a piece of the cardstock. So this is the cocoa bean, and it really went, let's see, yeah, you can see, it kind of went reddish on this. So I didn't use that. I did use the velvet foam, or velvet fawn, just right along the edge. So it's subtle, but it pleases me, and I think it just gives you a bit of extra dimension. Okay, now I'm going to go into the inside of my card, and that's where I used the die cuts. So again, I had the green Mary, so instead of going all over, I just cut a strip and glued it to the inside of my card. And then I took this whole piece, and I'm going to use the whole piece together. So I popped it out. Then I did pop out the center of it. So these two circles I'm going to handle together, and I attached them to the inside of my card. Extra sticky tape did that. And you can see how it just really nestles in there beautifully. Then I used foam tape, just one layer, to do the centerpiece. So I popped that in. And then I also used the same, these are the bigger border dazzles, and ran it right along the edge of the green, and it tucked underneath that center circle. That was just fine. The happy birthday came from our More Greetings dazzles. Now, this is hugely popular, and you can see it's got happy birthday, just because, love, hello, just for you, with sympathy. It's just got everything. And it's black, white, gold, silver, and brown. I did use the gold because I really wanted it to show up, and I used the gold dazzles, the oval ones, so it all kind of matches. So it was different to take that really significant set of die cuts and use them on the inside, but I thought this was just really a fun introduction to that art. So that's how I did that. So very fun. Okay, more. And I've got a trick for you on this one. Okay. Now this is using, let me show you this set. So it is using, these are the toppers, I'm sure you remember those. And I'm going to use the foiled piece, and I'm going to pair it with the gold Mary. And you can probably tell why I used the gold, because I had used the green elsewhere and I didn't want to use the same color again. So I'm going to go with the gold. Okay, so what I did is I wanted to have a special place for this to land. And I did use a cutting die, which I'll tell you in a minute. But first, I used this area of the cardstock, so not the foiled, but this area. And I wanted my border to be over here. So I put my glue, and then I placed this, pushed it down, turned it over, trimmed it to fit, and there I have it. And this time I used, these are thin line dazzles. Where are you, thin line dazzles? Okay, they have walked away. Okay, these are the gold thin line dazzles, and you can see how I've just edged it with those dazzles. So they're going right along the border as well as the outside. Okay, then I took the nested arch cutting dies, and it was really kind of interesting because I fussed about it, and I thought, well, do I want this size to go on the front of my card? And I thought, well, maybe that's too little. Or do I want, here's the evacuated piece, or do I want a larger one to go? And I'm hemming and hawing, and then I ended up doing this to the two pieces. I just layered them one on top of the other, and I got this, and I thought, well, boy, that'll work. And so I attached this piece down first, foam taped this one, and then just extra sticky tape with the butterfly going at an angle. So it's very straight lines, but this is the thing that is going differently. And I thought that that would work nicely. The other thing I want to share with you is that when you use an adhesive on Mary, you can have a tendency to maybe get glue on it, like that. And that's what it looks like. And I found a way to get rid of that. Now you can buff it out, and that works. And what I wanted to share with you is you just spit on it. Well, okay, I'm not going to sit here and spit in front of you, but you put it on your tongue, and then you can just wipe it off. And it works easily and perfectly. So I just want you to remember that if you get glue on your mirror, just spit on it, and it will come off, and you will be good to go. Okay, so that came from me to you, just between us. Okay, then I did use, I wanted to get a little texture, so I used the jute twine. Every color is in there, but I took the green. I made 2 strips, and I treated them and handled them like they were one, and I just made a bow, knotted it in place. Okay, now for the inside, what's she going to do to the inside? Well, I had more left over, and I really wanted to get this beautiful rose in there. But see, it's really snug right to the edge of the paper. So I simply cut this, again, put glue down, placed it, make sure that you are just next to the fold, not overlapping it. Press it down, turn it over, trim it to fit, and then you're going to get some of this border up here too, which I really wanted to make sure. Now you'll notice that I trimmed off, I'm going to hold this up. See from where the butterfly is on my left? Well, the butterfly's up here, so I did not use that area down because I wanted to get some of this showing. Okay, so I just shifted it. Now, since I was playing with those arch dies, okay, so I'm going to take, that's the evacuated space, obviously. And what I did is I placed the other die, so pretend this is it, and I placed it down here, and I thought, oh, well, that's kind of a neat shape. So I just put my cutting dies this way on the Miri and ran it through the die cutting machine, and I got this shape. And I've not used that before, and quite frankly, I've not seen it before. So that felt really good. You know, I always wanted to do something different for you. Then this is one of the tags. I did a single piece of the jute right there, and I am done. And I really wanted to frame that flower because I thought it was so pretty. So what I like what Hunkydory does is all the foiling, because when they started, actually the father had a press that did the foiling, and so that's why they are able to do so much of it. Okay, I have one more card for you, and this is a masculine card. And here we go. Now let's see, let me put this on white because I'm not sure that you're really seeing that blue card. I hope that helps. Okay, so I really went all out on the masculine here. And this is the sidestep card cutting die. This is new for us. And we have one die. This is a 10-inch long die. And it's probably helpful to have an elongated die or an extended die that will go that length. If you do not have it, do not despair, because what you can do is, let me just take this out. Goodness, it's in the, okay. And you can just use the low tack tape and tack this to your Miri. Of course, you're going to take it with the cutting die against the color. And when you run it through your machine, you can go halfway and then reposition it and go the other half. Does that make sense? Okay, let me say it again. So I'm going to use my low tack tape. I'm going to attach these two. Now it's going to go through just fine because it's less than 6 inches wide. So I'm going to trim off my Miri, but it's so long that my plates are not going to hold it in one fell swoop. So I'm going to have to do it twice. So I just let this go through, and then I pull it out and just start right here and go through that, and I've got my piece. And that's just how it can work for you. And the directions are always on here, with how you do the folds, how you do the cuts, so that is ready for you. And then I had a blue card base, beautifully done. And so I am using, and let me pull it out here. Goodness. Okay, bear with me for a second. Let me get it out here. Paulette, why don't you have it? I'm really sorry. Oh, piffle, come on. There it is. Okay, thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so I'm using this sheet. It's called The Adventure Begins. That's the title right there. And you can see it's got all of these modes of transportation and destinations on it. So I made this, and then I used my bone folder to really score over those folds so I can keep them tight. And then I took my car and I foam taped it in place, but I wanted it to go over this area. So don't put foam tape there and just attach it. It's kind of high. And then I wanted this, because this is a part of it. You're not old, you're vintage. Foam tape that down at the bottom. It's just a perfect place for it. And then I went back into my oval border because, as you can tell, I love those puppies. And I used the copper ones again on here. And this is another place to show you, we'll get in a little bit closer, that you can see the large oval with that piece that's in between them. So that just gives a nice look. And I use that piece between them down here and along the top. Okay, let me get this out of the way. And then I went into the steps. So this is a side step card. There's happens to be 2 steps. I used the compass here, foam taped that in place. And here I used this tag. So this gives me a nice vertical and a circle and a rectangle. So that was nice. And added a bow out of the blue jute. And then I went back into the copper jewel dazzles because, you know, there's 540 on that sheet. So I had plenty to place. And I put them, again, wherever there was a gear. I also just put them headlights in the center of the wheels, just wherever I wanted them on the edge of the grating. So that was my card front. Now, I know a lot of people stop there, but I didn't want to. I do need to tell you, though, that I also put some border right there. So, okay, so now I'm complete. On the inside, I had more of the blue Miri. So I cut 2 strips, put one there and glued one there. and then foam taped my hot air balloon and glued my Let the Adventure Begin right there. So you can see I'm really using the blue as my grounding point and letting that be my mat, so to speak. And so that's the end of my card. Now our 10 envelopes will fit perfectly, so you don't have to try to make an envelope unless you want to. So that will work, and I was really happy. Now, where you would write your message, well, you've got room right here, or even up here. So you've got lots of places to go. So this was very fun. Now, I did realize after I was done that I didn't go back and pull out our little gears, our package of metal gears, but you know, you can do that, of course, and that would be fun. So just to recap again, we have our luxury topper collection, which is really the foundation for so much of this. We have the mirror cardstock because that just adds such an elegant and perfect finish touch. And then we also have the 48 sheets of double-sided 8x8. So all Clockwork Curiosities. Say that 3 times fast. So that worked very, very nicely. Okay, so that's the end of Paulette's Paper Play for this time. I do have a money saver. Of course, it's on the right-hand side of your screen. And as I mentioned, I did write out the directions. They are down below. Just click on the card. That will take you to them. And I hope you like seeing some different ways of using things. I can tell you that I will be incorporating that metallic wax whenever I can. And I just want to thank you for being with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, we hope you'll like us, subscribe, but head on over to paperwishes.com. That's the only place you'll get the money saver, the only place you can see the instructions, and the only place that I'm going to play. And I invite you to join me. I want to thank you for being here, and thank you so much for being the best part of paperwishes.com. I'm going to see you later. Bye-bye.